Welcome to Talking Straight on Nationalist Hub. Today we have a very special guest you usually see on Telugu news debates and sometimes of course in English on national channels. Kishore Poreddy, the state spokesperson for the BJP in Telangana, is with us today, and naturally I have a lot of questions to ask him. Kishore, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir, and namaste, Sureshji. Yeah.
So at the outset, I think this question would have been asked to you almost a dozen times or more than that in the last 4 to 5 days.
Yeah.
And now as Modi ji is set to take oath and is taking oath, what went through your mind on that day when the results hit? Because a lot of people whom I spoke to said we didn't have lunch, we went and slept, we switched off the TV, but people like me and you were in the television studios having to decipher what went wrong. So what was your mood like, say around 11:30 or 12 on the 4th of June?
As you mentioned, I was in TV studios since morning. The moment the first trends came in, it was like around 270, 280, or as the trends built up within 15 minutes or half an hour. It became clear, I thought maybe the first round, let's see, but something similar had happened during the Karnataka elections and other elections while I was in TV studios. The initial trends came in and the final outcome wasn't very different from the initial trends. All right. So I kept a track while in TV studios every 2 minutes, checking on the totals and everything else, and it stood constant for, let's say, an hour. And then I realized, there's not much going to change. I mean, the trend is going to be there. Maybe a few seats here, maybe a few seats there, right? 10, 20 seats either or that, but there'll be that. I was surprised because we were all expecting. I personally was, I always used to say, hey, we'll get at least one more than the last time, which I was saying even the last time as well.
304 instead of
304 at least minimum. So now we were looking at around 240, 250, 230. The numbers did not change much throughout the day. Actually, they did not, it was plus or minus 10 or 15. That's all it was. So first reaction was surprise. Second reaction was, okay, this is the reality.
Let's live with it.
Yeah, let's live with it. It didn't take much time actually. And then the third thing was, okay, how is the NDA doing? And we were way over 272 by an hour or so. I think we were way over 272. And okay, third term, Modi ji is coming back. This is third term, consecutive term that a prime minister is coming back after Nehru, right? After Nehru's 3 terms, Modi ji is going to be the first person who is going to be the prime minister for the third time consecutively. Okay. And regarding risks as to what could happen and could not happen, this was a government, a coalition formed before the elections. I knew, Chandrababu Naidu garu is right here from our Telugu stage, from Andhra Pradesh. And the stupendous victory of Andhra also took over. Basically because even Telugu channels, most of them were more interested in the local election as well, assembly election, than the national election alone. So that was one great news here as well. So that's how I went through. The analysis part, what happened, why it happened, I knew it would take some time because, just sitting in the studios and going through however much you think of it, nothing is going to come out of it, right?
You can't do any number crunching.
Yeah, you can't even do any number crunching, you can't do any analysis. We have to, I knew we needed more time. So I just let it go like that. I was more busy in the conversation within the debates, how to handle it, rather than think about why it happened, what has happened. I wasn't despondent. For 1 second, I wasn't despondent. I knew we were coming back to power. I knew, under Modi and Amit Shah ji and Nadda ji and all of this would be sorted out. It would be a smooth affair. That was my thought.
So actually, when you look at it, Kishore ji, the main point that was emerging out of all that was the logic. I'm not putting it as a straight BJP versus Congress or NDA versus India alliance.
Yeah.
Sometimes people say that when India and Pakistan play a match and India loses that cricket match, the entire country goes into a depression that day.
Exactly.
But 2 days later, they all pick up and say,
yes.
At least it happened. Now let us look at the next match.
That was reflected in the stock market that day itself.
Unless it's a final. Okay. Exactly. So it was not a final, it was a quarter final or even the league matches.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at all that, when you look at BJP's performance, and as you said, they are going to form the government for the third time, and I don't think Nehru served the full term in the third term. I'm not sure. I think he passed away in 64. I'm not mistaken. I don't have the data in front of me.
He passed away. Yeah.
So Modi ji possibly outlives that, and then comes the 2029 election.
Yes.
Okay. Usually, the route taken is saying that those who win UP will rule Delhi.
Yes.
This time, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
For the first time possibly in the history of India, maybe due to the southern states helping out, and maybe due to the allies helping out, BJP is going to form the government and, of course, rule from there on. How long it goes on, it's a different question. So when you look at that aspect, when you look at an aspect that BJP did well in southern state, like Suresh Gopi winning from Thrissur, one seat, but it's a major land.
Exactly.
8 seats in Telangana.
The first time BJP has won in Kerala.
Exactly. 8 seats in Telangana, 3 in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, BJP had won Kakinada and Visakhapatnam at one point in time individually. Yeah. But when you look at the southern surge, because a lot of national analysts say, don't even look at south.
Yeah.
They're saying BJP doesn't exist in south. But even now, I was reading that BJP got more votes than Congress in southern India.
Yeah.
Or either, I would rather call it south of India. Do you think that inference that BJP is a Hindi party, or rather a Hindu party up north in the cow belt, is slowly now going away?
I think, winning in Northeast has already dispelled that. The media doesn't want to talk about it, but Northeast India is not part of the standard definition of the cow belt, I guess. So already we are dominating in Northeast India, even with allies and everyone else. But yeah, so that itself has dispelled it. Now the second aspect of it, coming down south, right? Last time, we were the largest party in the south. This time, you see, even in Tamil Nadu, we have been in alliance with AIDMK earlier. This time, we went with much smaller parties. The alliance was there, but with much smaller parties, where BJP is the dominant party of the alliance. And our vote share has surged. As you said, Kerala has received as well. We got the first seat there. Karnataka last time was a sweep, 26 out of 28, including the independent candidate allied with BJP. But this time we have slipped a bit. Telangana, right? It doubled. We are equal. We have equal Congress, which got 8 seats, which is in par in the state, and it's been only 5 months since the state elections, where we got only 8 assembly seats actually, while the Congress got 64, 8 times more. But this time we got 8 and 8. That was 8 times 8. This was 8 plus 8. So, Andhra also.
By the way, Odisha.
Right? Odisha. We won the state and we won the seats, MP seats as well. Right? So, there have been places. Madhya Pradesh, 25 out of 25. You know the rest of India, how it voted. The only surprises, Maharashtra, there was a lot of confusion in the state, with multiple parties, multiple Shiv Senas, multiple NCPs and all of that stuff. And no one had a clear inkling as to what's going to happen. This was the first election after all of those splits that was happening, and no one knew how to read it. On the other hand, UP, West Bengal, Rajasthan, right? And Maharashtra, of course, and a little bit in Karnataka. So if we exclude Karnataka, there were only a few seats declined. But these are the 4 states. They were kind of these 3 of them were kind of surprised, because the expectation set also that you would win 90 to 100% of the seats, right? These are the West Bengal also. The surge was like, with Mamta Didi being in power, and this time we would surge there. We could not realize that, but so I would say this is more of state by state kind of, you have to read the results. Like on the one hand, yesterday, last few days I was talking to people and they attribute this to, the unemployment, the price rise, a lot of national issues. My question was, so do you think Telangana did not have any price rise? Madhya Pradesh did not have any price rise. Orissa did not have any price rise. Are you saying they did the unemployment, or whether lack of employment or creation of employment, whatever you could say. Those numbers can always be discussed later. But what about the youth in Odisha versus Telangana, Odisha and Telangana versus someone in Uttar Pradesh? What was the difference?
So issues were different.
Issues were totally different in each part of it, and that is borne out by the results. If you look at state by state, you will understand this immediately. There were only 3 surprises, and the major one was Uttar Pradesh, and the next one was, of course, Maharashtra, because of all the confusion. No one knew what's going to happen, but that's a different story. You had Uttar Pradesh and a bit of Rajasthan and Bengal. That's it.
I think you are in alliance now. I mean, like it or not, it's an NDA government this time.
Yeah.
You no longer hear of Modi Sarkar. You hear of NDA Sarkar. While that is there are 2 states which I want you to look at. Tamil Nadu and Odisha. Tamil Nadu, BJP decided to go alone. That was Annamalai's strategy.
Yeah.
That we will not have a tie-up with AIADMK. We will go alone in the hope that next 10 to 15 years, we will emerge as a party, like we did in Karnataka. That's what his logic was.
Yeah.
And like the BJP is planning to do in Telangana.
Yeah.
That we will not tie up with any local alliance. We will be on our own. It might take time, but we will do it.
Yeah.
In Odisha, till the last minute,
Yeah.
BJD and BJP were speaking to each other, saying that we want alliance. But the local unit was very insistent, Dharmendra Pradhan or whoever it is, were very insistent that no, we will go alone. Now, when you look at these 2 dimensions,
We were successful in one place, we were not so in another
so
place.
is
That's
that
the question.
BJP strategy going forward? Because at the national level, you have an alliance.
I mean, Sureshji, just as you were mentioning, you talked about Odisha, you talked about Telangana, you talked about Tamil Nadu. So, Odisha had been in Tamil Nadu's place much earlier.
Correct.
Telangana had been in Tamil Nadu's place much earlier. This is second election we are going alone without the TDP, with whom we went into elections in 2014. Odisha, we were standing alone for a long time, much longer time than even Tamil Nadu. So this going alone is necessary to create a space. Otherwise, you are under a banyan tree of maybe another party, a bigger, major party in the coalition. And for you, the sun does not shine for you, so you cannot grow. So you have to separate yourselves, and however slow the growth may be, but you will have an opportunity to grow when you are out of an alliance. That's standard political lingo. It's not about BJP. It's about any party.
Punjab, by the way, I missed out Punjab,
Exactly.
where you
That's
moved
what I
out of
was-
Shiromani
Exactly,
Akali Dal,
exactly.
which in fact is the oldest alliance partner of BJP from 1984.
Exactly. And see, Odisha, we were standing alone for a longer time. Next was Telangana. Next was Tamil Nadu and Punjab.
Correct.
4 of these. And one thing you were talking about is these alliances. And this time, of course, in Andhra, we were in an alliance and we got seats as well. So this is a long, arduous process, and you stick to it over a period of time, you get it. But there are also needs for you right now as well, right? You have to win this time as well at the national level.
it's a short term
it's
or a
always
long term?
long term. And decisions, of course, I mean, these are all calculations based and chemistry based between parties and everything else, between your alliance partners and all of that stuff. And these are hard choices to make, but certainly, I mean, there's logic to it. There's logic to this, short term versus long term.
No, actually, if you look at it that way, in 1984, BJP had just 2 seats.
Yeah.
Akar Patel from Mehsana and Janga Reddy from Hanmakonda.
Yeah.
Now, when the party grows from a 2 to a 303 and now coming to 240, when you look at the gamut, worth taking a risk, yes, when you want to grow. Odisha, BJP wouldn't have been dreamt of a government, say, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
That's the kind of hold which Naveen Patnaik had. Karnataka, BJP did not exist 20 years ago.
Exactly.
Kerala, you could never dream of winning a seat
Exactly.
because of the
But at the same time,
religious matrix.
But at the same time, if we hadn't been in alliance in Andhra and Bihar,
yeah, possibly,
the
yes.
numbers there on that day, you asked for my reaction. That would have been a shocking, depressing moment as well. Because without 28 seats from these 2 partners, at least on that day, it wouldn't have seemed possible that NDA would make the cut.
But the media
Right?
still calls
So-
these 2 people as troublemakers.
They could. I mean, there is nothing.
Sorry,
to
I
hide
interrupted
here.
your train of
Yeah.
thought. You were actually
So
speaking
what
of
I'm saying
28
is-
seats, yeah.
What I'm saying is, the wise choices that you have to make.
Okay.
There's no one thing versus the other thing. It's not a religion. never say never, right? It's not a dogma that you have to go this way alone or you have to go that way alone. So that's all I wanted to say. Yeah.
If you're in Mr. Modi ji's place, I know you would love to be there, but if you're in Mr. Narendra Modi's seat today, and you're heading a government like this, and for the last two governments, at least the last government, Modi ji had a lot of space where he could do a lot of things. And I think BJP is lucky that way, that most of the bills have got passed.
Yeah.
There's, I think, only one or two bills left. One is, of course, the UCC, which the Supreme Court itself has mandated, and your partners also are saying we have no issue, especially JDU. My question to you would be simple, is that in the third term, as Modi ji begins his term, he's saying he'll make no compromises.
Yeah.
The reforms are mostly economic,
Yeah.
which may involve selling PSU stakes. Now, if you were in Mr. Modi ji's place, how would you look at the next 5 years? How would you rule the next 5 years?
So let's take a look at this. Though the TDP wasn't in the NDA alliance before 24, I mean from 19 to 24 they weren't. But if you look at the parliament record, most of the time they had voted with us. Even YSRCP voted with us. Right?
True.
We got 25 of the 25 MPs in Andhra without having a single seat.
Either
in
way,
Andhra.
the result would have
25
made a
of them.
difference.
So we were, I mean, these all depend on policies. I mean, and especially Chandrababu Naidu Gari's image, given that he is a pro-development, a visionary, looking forward 20 years, 30 years, and the kind of confidence, I'm the kind of talk, even the last few days about 2047, Viksit Bharat, that's where we want to go. Of course, there will be Andhra. We want to take Andhra along with it. We want to make Andhra an engine for India's Viksit Bharat. All of these are in consonance with where we want to go. So I don't see much difficulties there, because prior to these elections or after the elections, how the TDP was, which direction the TDP was leaning to, that was clear. And on the other hand, even with the JDU, right? Most of the time we were together. Of course, in a brief interregnum where the JDU had RJD and Congress, this thing with the alliance, they formed the government. But even before that, we were part of the alliance, NDA. So, and given the skills, I mean, someone asked me last time when Donald Trump, the US president, he lost and Biden won. So they were saying, hey, you know what, Modi ji shared such a good chemistry with Trump, right? And that made the relationship smooth. Because of the change, will it become difficult for Indo-US relations? I mean, will Modi ji have the same? I said, see, if you look at it from another angle, the entire world, I mean, the media, all of these guys say, Donald Trump is a very tough person to deal with.
Correct.
And Modi ji made it a great relationship. If he could do it with Trump, he can certainly do it with Biden. That's what I said. Because all he has at heart is India's interest.
Maybe Trump is
also back. So for that
back.
he can do. Yeah, maybe Trump is also back. So he can do with anybody. And I don't think Chandrababu Naidu Garu and Nitish Garu, I don't think it will be much difficult for Modi ji if he sets his, I mean, when he's focused on it. I certainly believe it will be as smooth as earlier, and he has made it a personal mission. I mean, he is running everything in a mission mode. It's not for, okay, how do I keep BJP in power for so long? Or how do I personally benefit? How do I benefit my family? He has nothing of that sort, right? It is always about how do I take India forward? How do I make India a developed country? How do I safeguard India's interests? And I'm sure both of these, TDP and JDU, like the way we are going. Most likely, if you have problems, even earlier history, if you think, it is about state politics, but never about the center's politics.
Which brings me to the question, because as a journalist, I'm often quizzed by channels from other states, which ask me what happens if Nitish Kumar walks out, or what happens if Chandrababu Naidu walks out? Actually, I posed the reverse question. I said, why should they walk out?
Yeah.
Okay, Nitish Kumar walks out, BJP can always split the party. As a spokesperson,
we don't have to go that far.
The spokesperson, I know you will be diplomatic to avoid that question.
No.
Chandrababu Naidu, on the other hand, will find it very difficult to go with the Congress, because there he finds it's political suicide to align with a party which the people of Andhra feel was responsible for the splitting of the state. Of course, BJP was also accused of that.
Yeah.
The question now comes is, Naidu wants money. Simple as that. Chandrababu Naidu wants money to build his capital, build his other things, and also fulfill some of his promises. BJP has to look at Telangana too. Yes. Because here you want, as Kishan Reddy and others said, it is not 8, It is 88 next time in the assembly.
Yeah.
Now, how do you do this fine balancing act between these two Telugu states, Telugu-speaking states?
First of all, there are one or two things which came across in that question. First of all, Telangana's interests are not in conflict with Andhra's. So, if Andhra has to develop, it does not mean Telangana has to be stalled in its development or whatever it is. We can focus on two things. We can focus on 28 states at the same time. No problem at all. First thing. Second thing is regarding one party leaving or the other party leaving. As far as the chemistry goes right now, this is a very premature question. I mean, the media likes it, so they do it. But you can do the math. Either of them leave, still the NDA is safe. So you don't have to split anybody, you don't have to cut anybody and all of that stuff. And when two people leave, I don't know under what circumstances that would happen and why would that happen. If there are strong differences on something in any coalition, and we have seen in this country coalition politics, we have seen long enough, and withdrawing support and all of these things have happened. So I don't have to be very this thing about it. These things can happen, and I'm sure there are others who would certainly support where we were going. So all of that is, as I said, premature, but I don't think there is instability. And one indication of that, I would see, is the global reaction. Both the presidents, prime ministers of countries, as well as the stock market.
Maldivian president.
Yes.
Did you expect a person who's supposed to be aligning with China to turn up for Modiji's swearing-in ceremony?
Exactly. So the reality has sunk in that it's going to be Modiji's third term, and it's going to be Modiji's mission all the way for the next 5 years. So convincing partners, that is an essential part, and it is a routine part of any coalition politics. And I'm sure Modiji will excel there too.
So, Mr. Kishore, here comes the question. One state, BJP has sorted out Odisha, sorted out Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Gujarat, say Chhattisgarh. Everywhere BJP has done. Telangana elections are too far away. Kerala elections are only due there, 2-3 years away. Tamil Nadu, forget it right now. There was one place, two places, of course. Kashmir, the elections are due, but there BJP has no big stakes. I'm talking Jammu and Kashmir. But there is one state where BJP, or rather even the opposition there, is in a mess, which is Maharashtra. There are twins there, political twins. In NCP, political twin. There is a Shiv Sena political twin. Of course, BJP and Congress are standing separately. In sense, alliances are separate. Yeah, elections are due in November in Maharashtra. As a political observer, forget being the official spokesperson, how do you think BJP can sort out the mess in Maharashtra and ensure that their government comes to power next time, or their alliance power?
See, Sureshji, as you mentioned, now we have two Shiv Senas, two NCPs, and then there is the Congress and BJP, like 6 major parties, right? And I'm sure the electorate is also confused. The symbols, two new symbols have come in and all of that stuff. So this election hasn't, the MP election, as I was saying earlier, 4 major states and Maharashtra, was the first election after all of this confusion. Maybe things solidify in the next election. There is a lot to be learned. There's a lot to be studied. There are a lot of patterns that have to be deciphered, right? What has happened? How did it happen? Because as you said, there's too much confusion here. Too many players and too much confusion. The voter is confused. We are confused. Or maybe the voter is not confused. He's clear, but we are confused about their...
voter is not confused, by the way.
Exactly.
He got the
voter
new
is
symbols.
Not confused.
He looked at the new symbols and voted for NCP power and... Okay.
Most likely, 100%. Most likely. I'm not trying to denigrate the achievement of the NCP or the Uddhav Thackeray, thing. It was this thing in the sense that there are too many players, confusion,
that's true.
Not maybe which party belongs to who, but who belongs to which party. But maybe too much choice, how do I go, what to make. And most likely what happens when there are 5 or 6 parties and there were alliances, most people might not even got a chance to vote for their party's candidate. Many BJP people wouldn't have got a chance to vote for their candidate because we were in a coalition, and then there is a Shiv Sena, there is the Nationalist Congress Party, right? So same thing on the other side as well. The Shiv Sena guys might not have got a chance, the Uddhav Thackeray group, to vote for Shiv Sena, but they had to vote for Congress or NCP. All of this creates a lot of confusion. All of this creates how much of this transfer did happen, did not happen, why these things things happened, why those things happened. There needs to be we need a deeper study on that, and only then I think we'll be able to say what could be the remedial steps, because the elections are coming soon. So we have to. Yeah.
As we close this conversation, Mr. Kishore, one thing I want to ask you. You looked at politics from a different sphere because you are the official party spokesperson. One way, two horses are holding back Narendra Modi, or they can even power Narendra Modi. One is the TDP and one is the JDU, apart from the BJP's own horse.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at it, one way, is it good that Narendra Modi can say at the end of his 5-year term, in 2029 when it comes, look, I did this despite this.
I don't think he'll have to say, I did this despite this. Most likely he'll be saying, I did this
in spite
with
of
this. No, not in spite of or despite of. See, even in this, I was successful. See, when you can take along Russia and Ukraine together.
So what's
right? When you can take along US and Russia together.
What is NCP or what is JDU
No,
or TDP?
For Modi ji. For Modi ji. I'm saying this specifically for Modi ji. I don't think any other country navigated the Russia-Ukraine war as well as India did, or the the sanctions regime of the West, especially of the US, during this war, as well as India did, right? So I think for him, he would repeat, just like as I said, Trump, Biden, he'll be able to, and same thing, Russia, US, right? Ukraine, Russia. I think we will all be amazed. And we did not feel the difference.
That's great.
That's my opinion of it.
So,
and I just want to say one more thing.
Sure.
Actually, both of them I see, both the chief ministers, current chief ministers of Bihar and Andhra Pradesh, right? Chandrababu Naidu garu. He can sell development like no other chief minister. For an agrarian society like Andhra Pradesh, United Andhra Pradesh, he made IT a very, very glamorous thing at that time. He sold IT, information technology, to a very agrarian society and made it very glamorous.
In the United Andhra Pradesh.
In the United Andhra Pradesh. Similarly, I think on many policies, sometimes we receive a lot of flack. Like, for example, the reforms in the agriculture sector, the 3 new agricultural laws. If a chief minister like Chandrababu Naidu garu and another one like Nitish Kumar garu, if they also become sellers of our policies, because all the parties in India at one time or the other promised to do the exact same thing that we did through those 3 laws. So right? Think of it. It could be a great advantage when you have non-BJP partners who can sell
Modi ji's dreams.
Reforms. Yes, which are exactly Modi ji also wants, which is exactly what Modi ji also wants. It would actually strengthen the government this third term than BJP, than earlier. That's a possible scenario, and I expect that's what is going to happen. And that's why I'm saying at the end of the third term, you'll see this was a great term. That's what will come out.
So I think the 6-month honeymoon period, which people usually talk about for any marriage or a government, might extend to 5 years, according to you. And that is a good part of looking at the way the Modi 3.0, or rather, let me correct myself, the NDA 3.0 government would work. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kishore Poreddy, for coming to us and speaking to us at Nationalist Hub. It was a wonderful conversation. And once you're back from Delhi after the swearing-in ceremony and others, we will have further talks on this subject.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Jai Hind.
Thank you. Jai Hind.